priority, starting with the nation of Iran. My position is very simple. The world's #1 sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon.
Europe has pulled the trigger on the so-called snapback sanctions against Iran. France, Germany, and the United Kingdom activated the mechanism at midnight on Sunday. That single move automatically reinstated long-dormant UN sanctions. Sanctions suspended for nearly a decade.
UN sanctions targeting Iranian proliferation will be reimposed.
And we support the reimposition of pre-2015 UN sanctions on Iran.
The symbolism is impossible to miss. The landmark 2015 nuclear deal, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the JCPOA, is finished. So what does this mean for the future of diplomacy, West Asia, and the global order? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. The word snapback sounds technical, but it is more than that. It refers to a clause built into the JCPOA. It allowed any signatory to reimpose UN sanctions if Iran broke its nuclear promises. The sanctions, which were first applied between 2006 and 2010, were only suspended when Iran accepted strict limits in 2015. At the time, it was celebrated as a rare diplomatic victory. Today, that hard-won structure has collapsed. The move by Europeans is less about technical violations and more about one thing: trust is gone. The trio, France, Germany, and the UK, say Iran has broken almost all of its commitments. In their words, they had no choice. But timing matters. Why now? And why just before Russia took over the Security Council presidency in October? The sanctions were set to expire permanently in mid-October. European diplomats acted in August to ensure snapback was complete before Moscow could shield Tehran from consequences. Iran's offenses, according to Europe, range from blocking inspections by the International Atomic Energy Agency, or the IAEA, hiding over 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium, and showing no willingness to engage in genuine diplomacy. So what actually happens when sanctions snap back? This is not just diplomacy. It is economic warfare on a global stage. The sanctions ban weapons imports and exports. They freeze assets, block officials from travel, prevent technology transfers for missiles, and strike directly at the lifeline of the Iranian economy, oil and banking. Foreign Minister Araghchi went on the offensive. He called the snapback an abuse of process. He argued that UN resolutions underpinning the JCPOA had already expired in October. Legally irrelevant to Europe perhaps, but resonant with Iran's allies. Hardliners inside Iran almost welcomed the sanctions, calling nuclear deal a pure loss. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has shut the door firmly on any talks with the United States of America. But what about Russia and China, two permanent members of the Security Council who strongly oppose all this? Moscow is fuming. It insists the sanctions are null and void and accuses the West of manipulating global institutions. Days before snapback took effect, Russia and Iran signed a $25 billion deal to build nuclear reactors, sending an unmistakable message. China stays quieter, but its role is no less critical. It has long been Iran's vital oil customer, picking up cheap energy others will not touch. The key question now: will Moscow and Beijing openly defy sanctions or tread more carefully, keeping deals under the radar? For both powers, Iran represents more than nuclear politics. It is a central piece in their competition with the United States and with Europe. As pressure mounts, Tehran grows more dependent on them. Ironically, that may strengthen Iran in the long run. Yes, geopolitics dominates headlines, but daily life in Iran tells the real story. 40% inflation, scarcity of medicine, middle-class families sliding into poverty. The JCPOA once allowed a brief taste of hope. Now hope feels gone. Supporters argue sanctions could eventually change Iran's behavior. Critics counter, sanctions punish ordinary citizens while strengthening dictatorship.